Jen has said, not from the very beginning, but pretty much after Trump's ear healed pretty quickly, that there was something really wrong about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, did they really try to kill him? Maybe. But who did? Who wanted Trump dead? I think it's pretty clear now that some very powerful people wanted him dead because he wasn't going to play ball. The second you decide you're not playing ball with the powers that be is the second you are in a situation where you could very well meet your maker. Now, maybe what actually happened in Butler was a test to let him know who's really in charge. Whatever the case is, many people have suggested that Trump was never the same after that assassination attempt. And here's a person with an actual platform that Fuentes only wishes he had, no matter how many deals with the shadow government he's willing to make in order to be relevant. Here's somebody who actually understands why this is so significant, especially right now when everyone's asking, how in the hell do we keep sinking into war with Iran, expanded war in Lebanon, and so on? Here's Candace.
Comment and share something that I hadn't shared before. And I don't know if it means something, but it's something that has always lived inside of me, which was something that Charlie Kirk told me before he passed and something that Andrew Colvett confirmed to me. This is, again, when everybody was good. And obviously things are not the same between me and Andrew Colvett because I don't believe him. I just don't believe him.
Neither do I.
But before it was announced that Miriam Adelson gave Trump $100 million, this was, I think it was announced in July or just before July of 2024. And I was told by Charlie that he and Andrew Colvett were present for that meeting with Donald Trump. And the reason that Charlie told me the story, and again, I could go back and try to figure out when exactly the discussion happened. I want to say it was May. So I knew that that money went through and I knew what she wanted in exchange for $100 million. What Charlie and Andrew Colvett told me was that she said that she wanted in exchange for Trump to allow them to annex not Gaza, but the West Bank. I was stunned by this. I think it has since made the news. But of course, this is like a totally different pretense than October 7th. Hamas is not in the West Bank. And
that's a very inconvenient truth now, isn't it? Hamas is not in the West Bank, which means that the entire time that they have said that this is about stopping Hamas has always been bullshit. And there's a lot of people out there who are useful idiots in this country that will continue to espouse such a ridiculous message. But that is the country we live in. We are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. And so, as I said at the top, you get people to talk about Russiagate in the same vein that people talk about, well, it's Hamas, we got to deal with Hamas. And now it's Hezbollah, we got to deal with Hezbollah. No, we need to deal with Israel. Israel is the bane of our existence. And that is the whole point.
And that is what she wanted in exchange. After she said this to Trump, Trump went, he was wherever Charlie was, Trump was adjusting his tie and looking in the mirror, and he said, I'm going to take her money and then I'll F her over. Okay. I am hearing this from Charlie, who was there first person, and Andrew, who confirmed this. Andrew was also there, that nobody else was there but Andrew and Charlie when Trump said this. A few weeks later, there was the Butler attempted assassination. And I find it very strange that Donald Trump is not interested or has appeared to be completely disinterested in determining who fired that shot. There were a lot of holes in that story. I didn't go down that rabbit hole. But I do know that once you assume office and you have the power to get more information and put more information out there, it's weird that he was satisfied just moving on from that.
I don't think he was satisfied. I think he just understood that you don't want to dive into this. You just have to understand how the game is played and how this works. There are so many holes in all of these stories. We're not going to hopefully be their human shield for much longer. Israel is in probably a lot more trouble than people think, which is great. Guys, if you haven't smashed that like button, we haven't passed 800 live viewers tonight. That's always our baseline minimum. Smash that like button if you haven't yet. Share the stream if you can. Really appreciate all the help. I think Candace is touching on an issue here that has always been at the forefront of the problem. Did he need to take $100 million from Miriam Adelson? Or did he take it because he just doesn't know how to say no to money and power? What was Miriam Adelson going to do to help him win the election? Yeah, okay, another 100 million, that's nice. But in the end, what purpose does it serve if he already knows what he's going to be forced to do? He had to know what the conscription, if you will, was to that 100 million. And of course, he had a pretty good idea. How could he not know? He's already dealt with the Adelsons for years. They totally wanted the Golan Heights. I gave him the Golan Heights. I told him I'd get it done. And he did. Gave him the Golan Heights. But that wasn't enough, and it never will be. And as I've said many a times, as you guys have been following our channel, when it comes to Israel and the Zionist cause, you can never do enough. They can never be satisfied with the work you've done. It's only what have you done for me lately that matters. You're only as good as the last deal that you made with them. Otherwise, you could be on the chopping block. That's how they get a puppet whore like Larry Looney Loomer to attack Donald after he suggests that, well, maybe we don't really need this war with Iran. No, you do, because we say so. And you have Loomer go out there and attack. Hey, that shouldn't surprise anybody. This is where we are. But the more we discuss these critical issues, the more people will continue to notice the great noticing, if you will, that's happening. It is imperative on our part. And yeah, apparently, Loomer's real enough that she cost me my job. So I'm not going to stop talking about her and what a reckless fuck that she is. But hey, Mossad decided that I had to lose my job. Okay. I'm not crying. I'm going to keep speaking truth to power. That's what we're all here to do. That's our job. That's the real job. That's the job that has teeth. That's the job that has impact. So let's keep doing it. And let's continue.
And I do remember watching Don Trump Jr. on stage when someone sort of prodded him on that. And like, you know, are you satisfied with the conclusion of what happened in Butler? That Don Trump Jr. kind of said, I'm not, but my father is. And that's that. Like it just kind of got hushed up. And I had wondered in my mind if it got back to me that Trump said that, if it maybe got back to the Adelsons that Trump said that. You don't take $100 million from a family of, I would say, gangsters, right? You're in gambling. It's not exactly an industry. I'm talking about Sheldon. That's what they made the money on. You don't take that kind of money and then express to people that you're planning on just screwing the person over. I just have a lot of questions about that. And it all transpired very quickly. And I just wanted to share that, especially in the context of Tucker saying we should have some grace, and clearly something happened and presidents have been assassinated in the past. And I do think that we have all noted this shift in him since Butler, Pennsylvania. Again, and that is all I know. Not pointing the finger or assigning any blame, but I think we all have questions about how quickly Trump wanted to sort of close the book on Butler, Pennsylvania.
I don't want to close the book on Butler, Pennsylvania, because I want to know what's really going on. I think a lot of people want to know what's really going on. But in the end, do we really need to know what's going on? Or do we already know what needs to be done? What needs to be done is the severing of the relationship between the United States and Israel. That is where it begins. That's where it ends. We have some very powerful people that run this country, and their interests run directly through that little state that should not exist.